Good evening for a special edition of the Dugout. It's less than 24 hours to go for the February 15th clash between India and Pakistan. A lot has happened. The build up to this was mired in chaos, controversy, uncertainty. Now, the storm, at least, it's not gained momentum, but yes, the Pakistan team had a press conference. They did their session from 2 to 5. The Indian team did a press conference at 5:40. Then they are now going to have a practice session from 6 to 9 o'clock in Premadasa. What will be interesting is what the captain spoke in the press conference.
Yeah, and obviously I think both captains had a fair bit to say prior to the match, which of course is, I think, even without all of the drama that surrounds it, prior is one of those matches which just draws a lot of attention. Now, though, with everything that's happened, obviously there was talk about not just what could be happening as far as the sport was concerned, but questions and answers about handshakes and how a certain mystery spinner might impact the team or the opposition.
I mean, yes, the build up has been over one particular spinner in Usman Tariq. But on the other hand, there has been something about the weather. Today, when we saw the visuals, it was very cloudy at Colombo. And there is a rain threat and there is an alert issued for tomorrow. People have been told to stay indoors in Colombo. Now, I think the rain will start from tonight. Late night it will start. The weather isn't good for the morning and the afternoon period. But towards the night time, it does improve. But we don't know how that has changed in the broader scheme of things. Whether the weather has changed in Colombo, we hope it has changed because all the build up for the match and suddenly it's a damn squib. What do you do then? So many people are coming for this game. I mean, it defies logic. Why it defies logic? The stadium capacity is 35 to 40,000. Why on earth will you demand 1 lakh tickets? Why? Unless they are planning to shore up even SSC and PSARA.
But even then, the math doesn't quite add up.
It doesn't add up. It's just about close to 85,000. That's it, if you combine it all. So, there is going to be a special performance, I've heard. Before the match, I think there is one artist who's going to perform. Just for this particular game.
I don't quite understand this. You already had an opening ceremony.
But there is one guy who's going to come and perform an hour, maybe. I don't know if the reports are true or not. But they are going to perform. And on top of that, you've got Jaisha, Mohsin Naqvi, and Aminul Islam Bulbul all coming and watching the game. And maybe there are reports stating that maybe you may have to take one of your medals from Mohsin Naqvi. It could happen. It might happen.
Oh dear, oh dear.
We don't know. We don't know because this is the drama that's going to come up tomorrow. And if you want to continue the Asia Cup drama, I am sorry. I don't know what to make of it then. I mean, if that continues the trend then of India-Pakistan, will there be bonhomie? Will there be rivalry? Will there be tension? Will there be drama? I really don't know what to make of it. But this is strange because you're given so many privileges. I mean, look at 2023, the privilege that was extended. What was the privilege? Only the India-Pakistan game will have a reserve day in the Asia Cup. It happened at the Premadasa. Why? Why this special privilege that is there at this point in time? And we are joined by Nikhil from the Gaul Sea Face. It's windy. Is it an indication of the sea breeze that is there? Or is the storm coming? That's what I would want to know from Nikhil at this point.
Okay, I've got updates for you guys. Firstly, I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I know there might be a little bit of ambience noise because I'm close to a very busy road.
We can hear you.
I hope you can. Okay, great. So yeah, I've got update for you. It was drizzling a short while ago, but it's like little few drops falling, but nothing to disrupt. Let's say if there was a game of cricket, it was the kind of drizzle that will not force players out of the ground. Okay, so or the covers to come in. It was that little drizzle that just happened. Right now, it's stopped that as well. And I think the And the best news to come out today is the fact this session. And why am I saying it's great news? Because India uh, have just arrived here last night. They could not have a practice session yesterday. They only had one practice session ahead of the Pakistan game, and that was threatening to be washed out because there was rain predicted later in the day. And I thought Pakistan practiced yesterday as well. Pakistan practiced today also in the time when there was no rain, and then India get the luck of the draw is such that they don't even get one practice session and it rains the second half. So that had me a bit worried. Not that it would have made much of a difference, but because Pakistan have been here in Colombo, they've been practicing, so you would rather want the Indian team also to get some sort of practice, see the center pitch. And the good thing is the practice here in Colombo is in the ground, center ground. So the Indian team actually practiced in the middle of the ground. So there were two pitches that India got where they practiced. Of course, the pitch that is to be used tomorrow was guarded. So the pitch to be used is bang in the center of the ground. So you're going to have equal boundaries on both sides. And they are big boundaries. The square boundaries, in Premadasa are big. So India got the practice session done. And luckily the rain has stayed away. I know you're going to ask me about the rain, so I'm just going to quickly give you the weather prediction as well. That it is expected to rain tomorrow, but majority rain is coming towards the first half of the day. And by the time you get match time, there isn't any rain so far. So, which is again good news that you'll get to see the India-Pakistan encounter. Maybe a delayed start, but I think even that we're pushing it. There's not going to be much of a rain. So, not even a delayed start. I can hazard a guess that you might have a scheduled start and a full 40 over game. That's something that you're going to be getting tomorrow. I'll give you some quick updates from the practice session as well. Some big breaking news that you can break on Sports Today. One, Abhishek Sharma was batting in the nets, and he's been smashing some big sixes in the practice net. So by that I mean, of course, he's always the aggressive batter. But I mean, there is no sign of him coming from a stomach bug. Sometimes you're low on energy levels. At least the distance of the sixes that he was hitting didn't indicate that he's a bit low on energy. So look fully fit, batting in the nets. So that's great news. And of course, you heard in the press conference Surya Kumar Yadav all but confirming that Abhishek is going to be playing. So that's one bit of news that I can confirm from the practice session. The second bit is that a lot has been spoken about Usman Tariq, and Surya Kumar Yadav was asked about that too. And there he said, in fact, it was a funny exchange where the question was that a Pakistani journalist asked him that, sometimes you get out of syllabus question. So can Usman Tariq be that out of syllabus question that you will struggle to answer? So Sky, in his typical, you know, Bombaya style, very casual, happy-go-lucky style, said that, sir, agar exam mein out of syllabus question aata hai, you don't leave it, na. You still answer it, na. So we'll answer this out of syllabus question as well. And then he went on to add that it's not that we've not faced, unusual bowlers before, and it's not that we don't have our plans in place, and it's not that we won't be practicing. So we've got things sorted. And it's interesting he said that because right after that, you had the practice session where there was a club level bowler that was bowling who had a similar action like Usman Tariq, where he was pausing before delivering the ball. So India's, in going back to the whole exam analogy, so India are doing their homework as well and preparing for that exam, for that out of syllabus question also. So these are just couple of things that I picked up from the net in terms of India's strategy. And I think indications are that Kuldeep might play. Again, this is not on the basis of the net session because everyone practiced in the net. I think it was on the basis of what Surya Kumar Yadav said, because when asked about Abhishek Sharma, he said, I've heard that the opposition captain really wants to play Abhishek Sharma, wants us to play Abhishek Sharma. So if he wants, we will play Abhishek Sharma. And similarly, when asked about, second time about Abhishek and Kuldeep, he said, if you want us to play Kuldeep, we'll play Kuldeep as well. So if I'm going by the indication that Sky has given, there is a thought there that they might be playing Kuldeep Yadav, and Abhishek, as I told you, is fit and playing really well. Though Sky also added that it's not going to be an easy choice. He said, I have such good fast bowlers, I have such good spinners. It's such a hard call for me to leave anyone out. But still, we'll have to wait and watch what the Indian team does.
I talked about the focus that was there because they were not distracted by all the off-field drama that has happened in the build-up to the India-Pakistan encounter. But do you expect, is the Indian team or are the fans who are there expecting some sort of drama even tomorrow when it comes to the handshake bit? I know Surya Kumar Yadav just brushed it aside saying, wait for tomorrow, see what is going to happen. Are you getting any kind of
No,
thing?
sorry. It's not just Surya Kumar. Even uh, Salman Ali Agha was asked about it in the press conference. So, it was a common question that was asked, and I'm going to give you some more information on that. That there's a common question that was asked in both press conferences. Salman Ali Agha was asked his personal opinion, and he said that, see, personally, if you ask me, I think handshake should be done because that is how cricket has been played for the longest time. It's not part of any official rule, but it's part of the courtesy in cricket. If you ask me personally, handshake should be there. But then he was asked that when the handshakes happen tomorrow, he said, you wait and watch. You'll get to know tomorrow. He left it at that. Ditto for Surya Kumar Yadav. He said the same thing. He said, Are, why are you worried about it? Go to sleep. Have a good night's sleep. Tomorrow you'll find out whatever happens. So both brushed it under the carpet. But this is my own input. And I'm not confirming it, but my own input based on people in the know of things. I am getting a feeling that the handshakes will happen tomorrow. This is what I'm getting to know. Uh, so this was the talk till today amongst the organizers that there is a likelihood of a handshake tomorrow. Again, as I said, things are fluid. What may be the thought now could change tomorrow because they might have to see the repercussions of what might happen. Uh, Also, if you remember, in Asia Cup also, handshakes happened on the captain's meet day on the eve of the tournament. Handshakes were done, but then something, of course, was discussed, and then the Indian camp refused to, shake hands. So that happened overnight. So similarly, I'm reporting the situation now. It is looking increasingly possible that the handshakes might happen. But again, don't hold me to it. If things change from now till tomorrow, we still have about 20 odd hours, or more than 20 odd hours, about 23 odd hours for the game to start. Plenty can happen. But if the handshakes happen, all I can tell you is that I can use many phrases for it. Uh, Shit's gonna hit the ceiling. We're on digital, so I can use that. Or all hell is gonna break loose. Whatever but it is going to be a big talking point. And I know there will be some people that will say, okay, fine, sanity has prevailed and it's good. It should have been done in the past, keep politics away from cricket. But then there'll be those that will question what has changed from Asia Cup to now and what has prompted India to change the stance. If you didn't shake hands then, why are you shaking hands now? And then there'll also be those people that will remind everyone about Pakistan's claim that, listen, Mohsin Naqvi is not backing down and he's getting his fair share. They got a good deal for Bangladesh, as you know. Was this also put on table? And if it was put on the table, did Pakistan get what they wanted and handshakes are back? So there's going to be no easy answer. That's why I'm saying I'd rather wait. Let's see if the handshakes happen or not. Indications are they might, but many things can change. If the handshakes don't happen, then I think it'll be just a regular day and we can focus on cricket and not so much. But if the handshakes do happen, I think we'll be discussing many more things beyond cricket as well.
I'll be in that second and the third category of people where I made it very clear if you want to humiliate a rogue nation, you have to do these kind of things. Now, what has suddenly changed from the Asia Cup till now? In a matter of 4 months, what has changed? And whatever happened in that ICC meeting in Lahore between the BCB, PCB, and the ICC have shown that they don't have a spine. Simple. You've allowed a country to just boycott an event on some flimsy grounds, and you not only don't penalize them, you give them another ICC event because that one was disrupted in 2024. And because you're a full member nation, you just allow them to continue as if nothing had happened. Now, there was also the handshake bit put on the table, apparently by Mohsin Naqvi as well. Now, if you yield to that, what is your standing? What is your standing in the world? Although, if there is no handshake, then okay, the status quo remains good. But if it changes, I'm sorry, I don't know then who I can believe, who I can trust. But one thing is for sure, I am never going to trust anything that comes from the Indian establishment or for the Indian players. That is for certain. I'll wait for February 15th, 6:30 p.m. But if the handshake happens, the final disillusionment, I will never ever then trust whatever India, the BCCI, or the government ever says. Never. You're played along with lives for far too long. You're no longer icons. You're no longer heroes. Your government, if it happens, is incompetent.
See, I mean, it's a very nuanced thing if you ask me. If it does happen, if it doesn't happen, because again, I personally was kind of okay with it. Like I was neutral with it, and I'll tell you why. Because if you really want to make that kind of a statement to, as you said, humiliate a rogue nation, then I think the best thing to have done would have been to pull out of the Asia Cup and say that listen, we don't want to play this match because it's just fresh off the heels of what happened in Pahalgam. It's fresh off the heels of Sindhu. I would have respected that stance. However, I can also understand why it is people might feel weird if it suddenly changes, because what's changed? Really, nothing much has changed. That being said, I can also say I can sense that there'll be a lot of people who will say that listen, it was a ridiculous stance to keep in the first place, because if you actually want to send a message, maybe not playing or using your clout to try and ensure that these matches don't happen every few months, despite the fact that bilateral tensions or bilateral matches don't take place, but you still have very frequent amount of India-Pakistan matches, maybe cut down on those. Maybe actually reach a point where you are hitting Pakistan where it hurts the most. That I would understand. The handshake thing, though, I mean, if it does happen, as Nikhil rightly put it, then yeah, the excreta is really going to hit the fan. I think that's definitely going to happen for sure.
It will, it will. But wait, we are going to just wait until 6:30 p.m. because that's when the toss will happen. Or we can even wait until 10:30
When the match ends.
when the match ends. Okay, these are the two instances. Maybe number one, you don't shake in the toss. Maybe you keep some slight hope. Okay, you might probably do it in the post match. What if you're getting your medals from some officials that you cannot do it? So that will be that will dominate the cricket match. I'm sorry, whatever is the result, that act will dominate the game, and that will be sad, isn't it, Nikhil? That particular act will dominate what might be a good game.
That's true, Sudha. But as I said, there's no uh, point discussing it. I mean, that's my personal opinion because it's not really happened now. And so once it does, I think, we'll cross the bridge when we get to it. I think in front of it, right now, we have a big game coming up. And I'm sure, you know, people there would want to know many things. And I just share some input about Usman Tariq because this is one thing that people have a lot of interest in. And I've observed him for 2 days. In the 2 days that I observed him, and I was watching him very closely. He was batting against many Pakistani batters. I saw Saim Ayub play, Mohammad Nawaz play against him, Babar, or all of them. And I didn't see any batter really being troubled by his bowling. But again, that can also be that Pakistan keep playing him all the time, so are more accustomed to his variation. So they handled him much better than a team that he facing for the first time. So I didn't make much of it with what I've seen now. But I'll share a few inputs with you, which might help our viewers understand why you've been spoken a lot about. And that, Harbhajan Singh I was talking to, I just did a show with him and I was chatting with him. So Harbhajan had some good insights about him because he saw him in T20. So I asked him that, what is it? Is he really that big a threat? And Harbhajan thinks he is. And good insights there. So he said, like people are talking about that pause. He said, pause is not a problem. Pause should not worry you because that's something that the Indian team can handle. It's not too much. And his pause is not unusual. It's part of every delivery. So it becomes a rhythm and you adjust accordingly. And they are anyway getting used to that pause, as I told you, with a bowler, club level bowler who's doing that. So what really makes him dangerous is that is the variations he has. So he says, he's got the carom ball, he's got a googly, and he's got the conventional off spinner as well. And then sometimes he skids it in as well. Those are quicker ones. So He feels that these are enough variations to just suddenly surprise a batter. And that's all you need, right? 2 or 3 good deliveries to get you 2 or 3 wickets, and it just changes the complexion of the game. And he said, it's not that players will not get used to it, but it's because you're playing them for the first time, it might take you time. But then one game, no, it's just everything hinges on that one game. So that's why you don't have time to settle against him. So he rates him highly in that sense, Harbhajan, having seen him in ILT20 and now. And he was just telling me that because he had a few commentators there who were from Pakistan, Shoaib Malik and the likes, and players that were there playing, and they all had told him in advance that keep an eye out on him, and he's a good bowler, he's been doing well. So in that sense, he's coming with a bit of a reputation. Let's be mindful of that. He's not a one trick pony. So, and I think that will be a challenge. But if not that I'm at a liberty to give this Indian team any tip, but I was looking at some of his numbers and some of the highlights I took out of his performances so far, whether it is in T20 cricket or playing for Pakistan. Also speaking to a few, Pakistani journalists just to get an idea as to what sort of a bowler he is. So what I've picked up so far is that he is a bowler who, and that's why, I go back to the point that I didn't see any delivery that really surprised any player in the net. He's a bowler who ends up picking wickets when players try to be aggressive against him. So, he tricks him with that and then gets his wickets. And in a ground like Premadasa, where you have big square boundaries, he'll trap you there and you get caught trying to clear the boundary. That's one of the reasons that helps him pick wicket. But if you are a bit careful against him, a bit, judicious against him, where you play him, for singles and doubles and think that I'll take 7 and over, 8 and over against him. And that's what I'm going to do. Whereas I go 10, 11 and over for the rest of the bowlers. If you approach that way, then he should not be a threat. So maybe the Indian team's taken note of that as well. And maybe they can look at that. But also, to an extent, I'll tell you something about the pitch. Everyone's talking about a spin-friendly track. Premadasa is known for that. Yeah, so on and so forth. But I think amongst all the pitches that you've had in the tournament so far, at Premadasa, this is the best batting pitch you'll get. I got a glimpse of the pitch. This is a pitch that's not been used so far. This strip has not been used so far. So it's a fresh strip. And they've been, it's an India-Pakistan game. And if it is your main draw, as we know it is, all the big board chiefs are being invited for his. There's a song and dance before the game starts. Now, many will say that it's not the first game of a tournament, right? That you have that. It's not even the final or the semi that you have that. It's just one league game. But you have a full performance and all that because it's an India-Pakistan game and big dignitaries are supposed to come in. So with that in mind, you're also going to get a good batting pitch. So don't be surprised if, we're talking about 160, 70 being a match-winning total with this pitch and the way it plays. Who knows, maybe 200 also could be a part total or 210 or teams could even chase that or target that. And I feel that if it is indeed a good batting pitch as it is expected to be, if it is a 200 sort of pitch, then I think anyway, India starts as the favorite. I think it's even a bigger advantage for India. The slower the pitch, the more low scoring the encounter, you bring Pakistan into the game. The truer the pitch and, a high scoring the pitch, I think India pull away from Pakistan in that thing. So that's what I'm picking up here in Colombo so far.
I mean, if you look at all the T20 World Cup encounters, you've not had a score in excess of 190 or 200 between India and Pakistan.
No.
I mean, you look at it, 140 was in Durban, 141.
Yeah, the tied game.
Yeah, then you had 152 and 157 and 152 rather. You had a score of 132 also in the 2012 T20 World Cup. You had a score of 136 in 2014, 150 odd in the 2016 game, 21, 152, 24 it was 120. So, and 22
Even
also was
22.
160.
Exactly.
22 was also 160. So, we haven't had high scoring encounters. But yeah, if the Premadasa goes back to the 200 day, I mean the 200 score pitch, you might see what happened in 2022 in that sense, when Australia had come to Sri Lanka. Perhaps that way you will see flat wickets going on at that stage. So, yeah, I mean, if it's a flat wicket, big advantage to India. But then, okay, if it's a flat wicket, then will we see 3 spinners then? Maybe if it's a flat wicket, you'll then maintain the same combination that is there. Which is why I don't know. See, the nature of the Premadasa, as I had mentioned, quality of opponents matter.
Yeah.
Australia, Zimbabwe, in a day game, it was the pacers who got most of the wickets. The spinners didn't. But in the night game that was there, again, because it was Ireland, that's why the numbers are skewed. It was Tikshana, Hasaranga, and Vellalage who got the wickets. Wrist spinner, mystery spinner, left arm orthodox. And when I look at those three combinations, left arm, wrist spinner, and a mystery spinner. You got a Varun, you have a Kuldeep, you have an Aksar. So if it's a flat deck, would you want to play Kuldeep then? That is what is confounding me to a big extent.
If it's a flat deck, I'd say keep him away.
Yeah. But he's got a good record against Pakistan.
Agreed, but I don't think you need to play three spinners any which way. I think two spinners will be fine if it's a flatter track. So, Nikhil, do you think they'll actually make that change if it's a flat deck? I think they'll just stick with the same 11.
With Abhishek coming.
Should I give you some more juicy information? And this is not verified, but this is on Twitter. It's slightly, I mean, it's related to India, Pakistan, but not related to cricket. But I thought because I was just picking this up, I thought I'd share it with you guys. And since Siddharth loves all this geopolitics, and he says he's a bigger expert of that than news of sport. But so you know that there is a, a ban on Pakistan owned or operated flights to go through Indian airspace for some time now. So there's a Twitter user who spoke that there's a flight that took off from Lahore and came to Sri Lanka to Colombo at and it didn't go over India. It went from the side from the Arabian Sea. Yeah, Arabian Sea, little away from India, but that is still India operated airspace, right? Mumbai controlled ATC area. So it actually breached that and came into the airspace even on the outside, and then has landed um, in Colombo. And that aircraft, it looks like a civil aircraft, as in it's a small private jet sort of a plane, but it is a Pakistani Air Force owned aircraft. So it's owned by the Pakistani Air Force, but not a fighter jet. Those small sized private jets that you have. Uh, yeah, that's sort of a yes, that has traveled and has landed in Colombo. This could be taking some VIPs from there. For all you know, could be taking since it's a Mr. Naqvi, absolutely, because he's the interior minister, could be going in a aircraft that is operated or owned by Pakistani Air Force and landing. It's a private jet. So it may have breached Indian airspace. Huh? So
Just before an India Pakistan game, why are
no,
these
so
kind
okay, just to uh, so technically I'm just trying to say, okay, so it is not uh, it is India's controlled airspace, but not Indian airspace. Does that make sense? So sovereign airspace is, I think, which is right above India. That will be sovereign airspace. Indian controlled airspace would be where, certain parts of the airspace where every ATC, right? So from here to here, this ATC takes care. From there to here, that ATC takes. So it may have gone through that and not actually breach the ban, but through an airspace that is controlled by Indian controlled airspace and not sovereign Indian airspace. So may not have uh, uh, like broken the ban or anything, but it's what's interesting is that they've gone through a India controlled airspace, which they haven't since the May 2025 clashes. Since then, they've not even traveled through India controlled airspace. So technically, it's not that they've breached Indian sovereign airspace. They've not breached it. They just used the area where where it is Indian controlled. So they may like whichever aircraft goes through that area, they have to be in touch with the ATC for direction. So in this case, they may have been in touch with the Indian ATC. They have to be if they're going through that for getting those instructions. So even that's happened. Now I don't know what to make of it. Whether India allowed it. Obviously, India allowed it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. So are things
That
easing out?
American
Or,
protocol in which if you don't, in America, what happens is if you don't listen to the warnings, F-16s are deployed.
yeah.
And then they do ensure that that rogue flight is taken down.
Yeah.
Apparently, what might have happened is.
That's not that. That's not that.
Yeah. That. What might have happened is a brief infringement might have happened. ATC in Mumbai would have
so I
warned.
didn't explain. I don't think it's an infringement. So they've not come to Indian sovereign airspace. They've gone through an airspace that is controlled by Indian ATC, right? So that particular airspace, Indian ATC has to give directions, any aircraft that goes. So they've not actually breached the ban, as I said. Indian sovereign airspace, they've not come in. They've gone through an airspace where Indian ATC will have to give direction. So that's not breaching the ban. But of course, they would have taken instructions from the ATC that, what height to maintain, what route to maintain, that sort of a instruction. So,
Kind of a radar dark spot.
Yeah.
It is sovereign, but then you have to take instructions from the neighboring ATC, which is nearest to your radar vicinity in that sense.
yeah.
But it's technically they're not a breach.
So
They're
that-
not
It isn't a
Indian
breach.
sovereign.
But why
It's not a
before
breach,
an
exactly.
India-Pakistan game, why do these things have to happen? I wonder why. I wonder why it is in their thing to just do these kind of mischiefs. I really don't know.
doesn't seem like
It isn't. It isn't a mischief, but then this kind of news gains precedence. And if it's not looked at the proper foresight or background at this point, they'll say, oh, they breached. It's an act of war.
Yeah, if you look at it like that, some people on social media could definitely take this out of context and make it seem like something that it's not. But it actually isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just the quickest route, and they're like, okay, it's on last minute notice that apparently everyone is being called to huddle together. So Nakvi is like, I'll try taking a shortcut.
What then Nikhil mentioned, I mean, the particular instance where we are going to have a special performance.
Yeah.
No, then we'll do one thing. No. Why are the other teams playing? Why do they have to play? If they want to blatantly
You be
market.
happy. You be happy. There is no reserve day for India Pakistan. What if they had for no other team, no other match reserve day for India Pakistan create a reserve day? They have not created that. And I believe Humankind is performing before the match starts. So you have the song and dance. So it is a big day. Everyone who is on their toes, ensuring all arrangements are made. At the end of the day, this is the ICC has also shown you that. Let's be honest with the decision they've taken so far. Let's not mince out. They've shown this is what matters. Whole tamasha, Pakistan held you hostage, put a gun to your head, done all that. But you've forgotten everything. Full tamasha, all heads are being called, song and dance, game will go on, tickets are sold, hotels going for $1,000 per night. Everything else can take a back seat. This nationalism that Siddharth does now, he can keep it with himself. ICC has told him, we don't care.
It's like this thing, na. They have saved on 2,000 plus crores loss. So it's like this Bollywood line, na. Bandar khel dikhata hai aur madari paise leke jata hai. That's how it is. That's how it is with the ICC. That is why they had to be like an amoeba, na. They don't have a spine because the weight of 2,000 plus crores was firmly on them. So they couldn't have had a spine at this point.
All I'm trying to think of, and again, this is just hypothetical, but if I'm just thinking, can this ever happen in any other sport where one nation threatens to hold a global tournament, mind you, in name and all, but whatever, it's still a global tournament. Global tournament held hostage, and you not only actually basically tell them, no, don't boycott, come play, they get some benefits out of there for another third party. And now you're having a song and dance before the match. Are you kidding me? What
Cricket,
exactly?
if it's going to happen, please, cricket shouldn't be taken seriously at all. Enough. It's high time we don't take this sport that was anyway bought to us by those darned colonials sitting about 1,000 miles away in the 18th and 19th century. Don't take it seriously. Don't take cricket, don't take the cricketers seriously. That's the thing, because it's
You're reaching that point now, though.
Yeah, you are.
reaching that point.
Take up football. Football is million, billion, trillion times better.
A global sport.
Global sport. Take up any Olympic sport, they are better. Take up chess. At least India dominates in that to a certain extent. But don't ever take cricket seriously. Yaar. Enough. Bahut ho gaya. I mean, when the dust settles on February 15th, I'll be glad that it's over.
It'll be really hilarious if it actually does rain out.
No, it won't. I mean, the weather forecast is on the night time. It's
I'm
pretty
just saying
clear.
hypothetically.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but that's the truth about the weather. So, unfortunate. Very unfortunate that this is happening. Who's performing?
Hanuman Kain, he's a pretty popular Indian rapper.
You don't know Hanuman Kain?
No.
He is the best rapper that there is. You haven't heard that song, Big Dogs? It became like one of the top chart toppers in the US.
Dhurandhar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, that track
That's
was
been used by
Star.
ICC for the official this thing.
It was also used by Star to promote the India South Africa ODI series when Rohit and Kohli were playing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that song used to play, I'm a king, I'm a not and a slave, they call me a bad man. Whole lot worse. Heavy is the head, it's a blessing and a curse. That's his song.
that's a song.
Yeah.
That's his song.
His name is Hanuman Kain, and he's taken from the from Lord Hanuman, from that word. So he's Hanuman Kain.
Must have been from Pawan Putra indeed. So, yes, you're right about that.
But
No,
what
Pawan,
you
I didn't call
figured that
you.
out? What kind of a statement is that?
Ah.
Well, Hanuman got to
What does
do
Hanuman
with
have to
just
do with Kerala?
No,
Kerala.
I mean, he must like Hanuman. So, you
quite
took
clearly.
it from that, yeah.
Yeah, but no. How did you figure out he's from Kerala?
That's what Shane said. I didn't say it.
You said I figured.
No, when
to
he
what
said
I
he's
said.
from Kerala, I figured out. He said I figured.
No, but I didn't know he was from Kerala. He gave me the
Yeah.
general knowledge. Yeah.
Exactly. So when he said he's from Kerala, you said, yeah, I figured. Because Pavan Putra Hanuman.
But I said I didn't call Pawan at that point. So,
Let him produce our show, please.
yeah, let him produce it. Yes, indeed. And who's this Rohan? I'm assuming it is Rohan or Rohit. Because ROH.
Okay,
It's-
you guys take questions. Should I take your lead? I'm going to do a separate preview now and send it to our viewers in sports today. It's my build up to the
Yeah, we'll take the
India
comments.
Park
too.
game.
Yeah, sure.
Okay
Nick.
then.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So I think that's Rohit or Rohan, you're right. I couldn't quite
Could be.
tell.
What a time to cut it. I hope India loses the game tomorrow. And also the World Cup, there is a handshake. You cannot be this convenient. One, PCBG says even Danda and they agree. I hope BCCI becomes bankrupt. Lanat.
He's had some very strong words, although I don't think your hopes will come true. I think the BCCI right now is the biggest thing in Indian cricket, and it will take something massive for it to
Look,
fail.
you're already gotten 48,600 crores in your coffers.
Yeah.
You're getting 3,000 or no, you're getting about 9,000 plus crores every year. You're getting 4,000 plus crores. How on earth are you going to go bankrupt within one day? It will take
Bad
you
chance.
a decade or so of consistent bankruptcy to make you bankrupt.
Exactly. As Devpratap Singh Chauhan though points out, he says that Sid and Shane Bhai, if a handshake happens now, it'll be shameful from India. Sky said in the Asia Cup, we can't forget Pahalgam. Now did we forget Pahalgam? Very shameful if we surrender against Pak.
If that happens, either at 6:30 or at 10:30, if that happens, no more supporting of anything to do with India and no more trying to hide the incompetency of our government that is there. If it happens, the players will come later, but the government that has been headed now is truly incompetent and impotent if that
Well, I
happens.
will say this. It's a very funny thing. On one hand, you first bowed to social media pressure
Yeah.
and chose not to shake hands after you were seen shaking hands.
Yeah.
You did that. Now you're going back on that, and it's just been a few months. I don't quite understand. The policy making here is
Yeah.
a bit sketchy.
But again, from me, Shane and Nikhil, if it happens.
That's a
we are-
big if, by the way. This is all speculative.
Yeah,
Even
okay.
Nikhil said that this is what I'm getting to hear, and as he said, there's still about 20 odd hours to the match. There's plenty that can change in that point.
Anything can happen. So Nishant Shah saying ICC need to do proper grouping against by putting Pakistan and Afghanistan in the same group. ICC doing unfair with Afghanistan fan. If they do, Pakistan versus Afghanistan group stage, India versus Pakistan Super 8.
Are
Look,
you so sure that Pakistan will be able to beat Afghanistan? I wouldn't be that sure.
I mean, in the Asia Cup, they were put in one Super 4 group and then
yes,
they
I
lost.
remember. Yeah.
Afghanistan lost
Naseem
with
Shah.
Fazal Haq Farooqi. Yeah, that's the thing. But again, this entire agenda of group fixing. This is fixing only that the ICC is done.
It is. Now that we know that it's basically a tenet that is told to the broadcaster that listen, every year you will get one India-Pakistan game, then there's no better way to call it what it is. It's basically you're fixing the group.
Yes.
And then rest everything is like, it's like you're like, all right, lads, India-Pakistan in one group, now let's figure out the rest of it.
Exactly. And that is why the sport can't be taken seriously. You can never imagine that in FIFA. You can never imagine that in the Olympics. FIFA has its problems. It has had its problems under Sepp Blatter and Infantino.
None of these bodies are perfect. But at the very least, there's some semblance of sporting integrity that remains within the competitions in itself.
You won't have this problem in the FIH. You won't have this problem in either Olympic sport. Olympics, whoever does better will be clubbed accordingly in that. So, if Usain Bolt was still the best, it won't be like, oh, for blockbuster, let us club Usain Bolt and Noah Lyles. No, Noah Lyles doesn't qualify. No, he's not making it to the heat.
Exactly. It's just that simple.
A fixed tournament and a fixed sport deserves no respect.
It's not a sport then.
It isn't a sport.
And it just once again pours a lot of water over this idea that every year we have to have a World Cup, which, if you ask me, just dims the concept of a World Cup.
Exactly.
It really dims the concept of a World Cup.
Then it is a World Cup. It's just another major multi-nation tournament.
Exactly, because it's not really a World Cup.
Exactly.
The only World Cup, if you ask me, will be those which are played with a proper gap.
I mean, you can't imagine just for the... I mean, sure, is football one of the most popular sports in the planet?
I think it is the most popular sport
it is.
in the planet.
You don't play it every 2 years. 2 years is the continental bit, and that too, that's the gap of the World Cup. A Copa America won't happen. I mean, it did happen for one year because of some kind of issues that had taken place.
But Copa usually happens after every 2 years. I think they are also going to move towards making it...
Euro happens every 4 years. And
in
it doesn't
fact, technically, correct me if I'm wrong, 2021 was the last Copa which Messi won first time around. Then they defended it in 2024. So even they don't hold the Copa now is no longer happening as a biannual thing. African Cup of Nations is also moving towards a 4-yearly thing.
Yeah.
Despite a lot of talks that FIFA might want to move to a biannual World Cup, as of now it still remains 4 years, and I really hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Same with the Olympics. That's the novelty that gives it the importance.
Exactly.
And it's 4 years, every 4 years.
Now we can't wait for 2028 Los Angeles to happen because the events of Paris were so good.
Exactly.
If it was in 2026, hey, another Olympics. Oh no, another Commonwealth, another Asian Games.
That's what makes it so heartbreaking, because when you think of a person who misses out on a medal by a whisker, it's like, oh, now you have to again train 4 years to go through that same grind again to have any hope of being that person who wins a medal.
Exactly.
That's what makes it special. Here it's like,
Pawan.
You lost the 2023 ODI World Cup. Oh, no problem. You may have another chance to win a 2024 T20 World Cup.
Or no, if that's not, then Champions Trophy 2025.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't need a Champions Trophy in today's
Exactly.
You just don't.
Exactly. And Siddharth, Shane, please give neutral. Whenever we are grilled by some team fans jump over Flick, we expect league, UCL, everything. Board didn't give him even Martinez replacement. Isn't it unfair?
No, I don't understand. I know where it comes from. It's because Barcelona recently lost a Copa del Rey match 4-0 to Atletico.
Ooh.
It's harsh because again, it's a first leg semi-final, which basically means that Rashford is out, because even if the second leg is played, you're having to overturn a 4-0 deficit. Good luck.
You need a Manolos, the Greek god, to do it.
Or you need the remontada, which Barca pulled off against PSG.
PSG, yes.
But I mean, I understand your points, Siddharth. It's a little unfair to constantly jump at Flick for everything. I think Flick is doing the best that he can given everything. You're right. Inigo Martinez was probably your main defender. I mean, it went from Inigo being your main defender to Ronald Araujo, who, no disrespect, I don't think is at the same level. So, it's not even about the board not being able to give him anything. They can't give him anything. The money issues are so bad. So, I think I agree with you. They do treat him a little unfairly, but then that happens in both Spanish clubs. Yeah. I was surprised they sacked Alonso the way they did.
But exactly, this is why it's so brutal. Barcelona, didn't they win the El Clasico?
They won El Clasico. They are currently top of the
La
Liga. Yet people are giving him grief over one match loss. That tells you how harsh. It is very tough being a manager in Spain's big
We would all be crying out of sheer mental burnout. Every match you're on a tightrope. Yeah, Priyansh is a real World Cup in cricket is ODI World Cup. 4 years, 10 top teams, everyone playing against everyone. But that is also going to change, and it's good because you'll now have 14 teams playing in the 2027 edition.
One thing which I don't like about the ODI World Cup or the ICC World Cup, to give it its official name, is that there's never been a consistent format.
Yeah, never.
It keeps changing. You cannot possibly be having a World Cup and keep on changing the format.
Exactly.
Right? So another big gripe I have with cricket. Ideally, if you want to stick with it, stick with the 10-1. But even that I have a problem with because there's no grouping. There's just so many matches.
Yeah. No, but then again, only 10 nations doesn't make a World Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's not a World Cup. That's basically
An extended Champions Trophy.
Yeah, 10 nations. You have 11 full member nations, boss.
Yeah.
There are 10 teams playing a World Cup. No, it needs to be more. Ideally. That's why
Ideally,
I like the T20 World Cup format in that sense. Although I would change it and try and incorporate it in a slightly different way and make it maybe instead of 4 teams of 5.
5 groups of 4.
Yes, because that would then add a little bit jeopardy. You know why? Because then it would reach a point wherein if you lose 2 matches,
top 3, the best of the top 3 in that sense.
Yes, because then it would add a lot of jeopardy. Why? Because right now you have teams who can lose 2 matches and still actually qualify. If you lose 2 matches when you only have to play 3, you're out.
Yeah.
That would make it more fun. But again, that's a whole debate for another time.
Yeah. Rahul, not Dravid. Some of the journalists' questions are pathetic. And Sky being funny to all the questions also not great to watch. Indeed. Sometimes Bhau's quips does get to your nerves. I'm one of them. I think his quipping does get to my nerves, but then that's how he is. But then why so much fuss on handshake? What is there to hide saying wait 24 hours a game plan?
That I agree.
That but itself is a giveaway.
Yeah, because if he had to just say no, nothing has changed, then
it's a giveaway. Yeah. You are shaking hands if that is the case. So, Anshu Mishra is like Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, Shane said, I'm okay with T20 World Cup every 2 years for the growth of associates and ODI World Cup in 4 years. But scrap Champions Trophy and WTC should only be 2 flavors of ICC event. No, wrong.
I disagree about WTC.
I want the Champions Trophy scrapped for one simple reason. Why have 2 major ICC events in one format?
Yeah.
You got a T20 World Cup, you have a World Cup for that, great. You have an ODI World Cup, great. You don't need the Champions Trophy.
The only reason a Champions Trophy exists is so that they can ensure that every single year there is an ICC tournament. Because otherwise, if you think about it, the only ICC tournament which would have been there in 2025 would have been the WTC final.
Yes.
Which I don't think sad to say because India weren't involved, didn't get that much of this thing. I know, congrats to South Africa, they did well. Worthy winners. But that is in fact, it didn't get as much attention as it could have if India were, right?
But again, even in the WTC, all teams should play the same number of games. You can't have 21 and 12. Make it to the final. I'm sorry.
That's the thing.
If an alien comes on Earth and asks, why is this so different? Cricket. Please make it understand. That's it.
Indeed. Anyway, we can take your leave now. This is a lot of comments, but we have in fact taken the major ones. And again, let's wait and watch, guys. Let's wait and watch what happens tomorrow. I hope it's a good match because again, if all the build-up is only about drama, I'd be very disappointed as a sports journalist. But let's see.
It is. Then we'll have to extend our one more day as entertainment journalists, drama journalists, not sports journalists. Then that happens. So let's see how it pans out. So tomorrow is the day India versus Pakistan all over. Let's see how the on-field drama dominates or the off-field drama dominates.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So bye-bye. See you soon from me, Shane and Nikhil. It's good night. And
actually, it's not our last live of the day.
We'll be back for the South Africa in New Zealand
like
game.
An interesting match.
Yep. Remember, whoever wins this, first team in the Super 8s.
Yes.
Okay, so bye-bye. See you soon.